Let's face this, some labs are unhealthy. Sure, I agree. Some advisors, they misuse power. Some environments drain people. All that is real. But there's another pattern I have watched over and over, especially among PhDs and postdocs. And that pattern is to adopt the posture of a victim. And the posture slowly reshapes how you think, how you speak, and how you act. Just listen to the tone that creeps in your head. Some examples are: my advisor never supports me. The system is stacked against the people like me. They only publish if you are from a famous lab. Reviewers are biased anyway. What's the point? The PI gets all the credit. Now, listen to this. Sometimes those frustrations are valid, but when that becomes your default lens, something shifts inside you, and that's dangerous because you stop looking for moves. You start looking for explanations. And explanations, sure, they feel good. They can protect your ego. They protect you from sting of rejection. But they also protect you from something essential. They protect you from growth. Because the moment you believe everything is controlled by someone else, your efforts will begin to feel optional. And you may say, why push harder if the outcome is already decided? Why refine the paper if the reviewers are against you and are going to reject it anyway? Why network if prestige determines everything? And that is how momentum dies. Not very loudly, it dies quietly, 1 inch at a time. Just a slow erosion of drive. And here's another bigger cost. When you sit in the rooms with your peers and friends where the dominant language is complaint, your ambition will begin to shrink. If every discussion is about how broken the system is, how toxic the PI is, very little time is spent on discussing how to navigate the system. And then you begin to bond over frustration instead of progress. And that's very unhealthy because over time, frustration will become your identity even before you realize. That's dangerous because careers are not built on being right about what's unfair. What's unfair is unfair, sure. But your career will be built on making intelligent moves within imperfect imperfect conditions. Look at the researchers who advance. They do not deny the flaws of the system. They agree that there are issues, but they just refuse to let those flaws, those problems dictate their own behavior. Sure, they may also have difficult advisor, but they build mentors elsewhere. They may not get spotlight in the lab, but they create visibility through talks, collaborations, and online presence. Sure, they may have their paper rejected, but they dissect the feedback and resubmit stronger. There might be issues related to who gets the credit, but they carve out a niche that cannot be confused with their supervisor's work. They become an expert independent of their supervisor. Same environment, different postures taken by a victim and a winner. One stance waits to be validated, the victim waits to be validated, but the winner looks for leverage. And over years, this very difference between the victim and the winner compounds. A PhD is long, a postdoc could be even longer if you drift. But if your internal dialogue is, I am stuck, I am a victim, you will start acting like a victim, you will start acting stuck. You will hesitate to try when an experiment fails, you will hesitate to apply for awards, self-judging yourself. You will delay sending that email because you assume the answer will be a no. And then you call it proof that the system never works, that the system is biased, that the PI is toxic. But the uncomfortable truth is, you cannot control the structure of academia as a PhD or postdoc. So do not try. You can only control how you respond to it. You cannot control the reviewer bias. If you are unfortunate, you happen to have your manuscript gone to a biased reviewer, you cannot control it, but you can control how undeniable your revision becomes, that some manuscript, some journal has to accept your manuscript. You cannot control the prestige hierarchies, but you can control how sharp, how visible, and how consistent your output is. There is a difference between saying, please listen to this carefully. There is a difference between saying this is hard and saying this is impossible for me. And remember, this is very important to know that hard is where the growth lies, because hard keeps your dignity. But calling something impossible takes the power over you. And sure, you can acknowledge unfairness, and I agree with you, there is a lot of unfairness in academic system, but do not build your identity around being blocked, because once that identity settles in, you stop testing your own limits. And in research, more than almost any other field, the person who keeps testing, the person who keeps adjusting, and the person who keeps pushing forward is the one who eventually breaks through.